Hello, everybody. I'm Silent Eric, and it's been a while, but we have a bunch of new cards, and I'd like to go over the lore, the art, the flavor text. Just go over all the new cards for those of you who are interested. Uh, it is worth saying, of course, that this is my interpretation of them. You are welcome to your own, but I believe that there is a story being told here, something being set up that we may or may not get to, depending on how future development of this game goes. This might be the end of the dream cycle, but there's definitely hooks here for future stories and future cards to follow this cycle. Let's go ahead and start with the main themes, and that is Lilia. At the heart of the Garden of Forgetting, the dewdrop harvest grows near. Though these dewdrops are lovingly tended by Lilia and the garden's other caretakers, a strange corruption can now be seen within them, and the dreams they show are turning haunted and dark. So, we can see Lilia in the Garden of Forgetting, which I believe is in the spirit realm. It's not a physical place, I don't believe. But here, there is some mystical plants that grow these dream dewdrops, and those dewdrops have people's dreams in them. Uh, it's all part of some kind of mystical, spirit nonsense. Lilia is a tender of this garden and of the tree, first and foremost, as if a twisted corruption had taken root within them, threatening to leave dreamers stranded in their own dangerous nightmares. A lot of crows for some reason. That's going to be a recurring theme here. There's a couple characters that this could be referring to, but I personally think that it is set up for Fiddlesticks. Even though Nocturne makes a lot of sense for nightmare stuff, Fiddlesticks is a demon. He's kind of a higher category. Technically, anything Nocturne kind of has domain over, Fiddlesticks also has domain over that. He just has domain over more than that. Then we have the Blooming Bud. Dreams are a bloomin'. You see little sprites, most likely, kind of like pics. I've caught a dream for you, and you, all of you. I am not going to try and mimic Lilia's voice. Imagine that I'm Scottish. Alright. Let's go ahead and go to Ionia so we can just look through more of these. So what are these little things here? The Spritelings. Spritelings are marvelous creatures. Given enough time and the right dreamer, their potential is simply limitless, says the Sprite Mother. So they look like they're made of a similar stuff as the dream. And these are little spirits, these Spritelings, and they are able to enter into dreams, go into the dream dewdrops. And we can see that down here with something else, actually. It's in another region. Mr. Root, we have next. Wow, one day I hope all this beauty will be dead, and one day all this beauty will be dead, and so will we. I hope I'm first. Hee hee. Mr. Root is a spirit. He is animated. He does not want to be. He lives, but he wishes he did not. Yep. He's a fun character. Amazing voice lines. Really worth looking at them. And luckily, he's a very, very good card. So he's worth putting in your deck. Petal Pixie. Our Lilia's hair looks a mess. Go and fix it, won't you? Remember, the first strand is for wishes, the second for dreams, the last for everything's not as it seems. Okay. So Petal Pixie, just local kind of fairy, also in here. Does hair. Very nice of him. Look at the multi-arms. Very interesting. And the kind of leaf design. I like it. Alright. And make spritelings. They're just all over the place. The Dewdrop Harvest. Each of Mother Tree's dewdrops gives a glimpse into a dream happening somewhere in Runeterra, and each drop must be carefully harvested, nurtured, and protected. So we can see here, she is collecting dewdrops. They both are, while spritlings just kind of float about in different shapes. Spritling call. Look, little sprite, I even brought you a clover chew. Yep. Nothing else there. Blooming blood, we saw already. Dreams are blooming. But the drowsy dewdrop. Daydreams, night dreams, mid-morning dreams. The dreaming tree has branches and paths to them all. So, yeah, the dreaming tree is massive, has branches going out everywhere to hold all the dreams in Runeterra. Very impressive. Okay. And then this is a Vastaya, and a Felis is the type of Vastaya. Looks kind of fawn-like. To care for the dreaming tree and the surrounding garden is a high honor, but one that requires sacrifice. In a ritual of respect and appreciation, the garden's caretakers offer up their own memories, losing a part of themselves every night. So, also you can see this corruption kind of growing on the roots. But she's just having a good time, tending to the garden, but losing memory because of it, because it is the Garden of Forgetting. Garden's Gratitude. Go, little sprite, soar. Alright, nothing special there. Alright, Sprite Dance. Dreams of the heart are one drowse from reality. Okay. Just Lilia's interpretation on how dreams can come true. Yeah, sprites just move around. Steel Gale, Blade Above All, Yone Windchaser. Yep, that's Yone. Not in the game yet, but there he is. Looks like he's gonna do stuff with stunning, probably. Sprite Mother. Sprites are spirited, fickle, and not always good listeners. To ensure each one reaches its dreamer, Sprite Mother looks after them with a steady hand and no small amount of scolding. So yeah, they just kind of, they're a bit fickle. They kind of fly around, do whatever they want, and that's why they need to have these caretakers, including Sprite Mother here, who looks like a grown-up version of that other fairy. Surprisingly, none of the stuff here actually has any subtypes. They don't count as being Fey. They don't count as being, well, I mean, they're not Yordles, but they don't count as being Fey, which is very odd. Rootbound Path. The Garden of Forgetting is home to a strange assortment of creatures, both large and small, some with more sentience than they would like to have, like Mr. Root here. You can see more signs of the corruption just kind of lurking around in the background. The sickness spreading throughout Mother Tree. Other than that, just able to kind of hang out all the spirits. Sentient Seedling. Smile through the pain. Great. Then the Heart of the Tree. Dream sprites are one of the garden's more plentiful inhabitants. Varied in shape, size, and temperament, many of them will go on to enter dewdrops, guiding their dreamers towards their deepest wishes. Yep. The dreaming tree, all the different shapes of different spritlings, as they all kind of coalesce around it. The tree spreads out the roots and the branches off into the distance. Truly massive. Green thumb. All every plant needs is good fresh soil. And it looks like we only get to see the first of them, but there's technically one of these for each. Shame we don't get to see it. Alright. So from Ionia, the other two major ones are going to be in Bandle City and Demacia, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other regions, because one of the major themes here, as shown by Lilia, is dreams. It is adding some stuff to some other previous stories that we already have, such as the Eager Dedicant, one of Neela's crewmates, adventuring party from the same order. And this is just a young apprentice. What do you mean I need more training? I've been training. Look, look. He's running around in the docks of Bilgewater under the watchful eye of a mentor that we've seen from the previous expansion. Then we have, speaking of the previous expansion, or a previous expansion, the Pit Champion. Angel has spent years angling to win the fight to end all fights. Every night she dreams of a coin pile big enough to fill Bilgewater Bay. That's potato farm money, that is. I don't think you need that much gold to start a potato farm, but Angel wants to make enough money to retire and live a peaceful life. Which is a shame because she gets shot in the face by by a Noxian. It's by Samira's Gunmaker, which is pretty awful. But at the same time, yeah. So a lot of these story cards tend to be dreams. Not all of them are dreams, but a lot of them are the wishes and dreams of some kind of character. Convincing clash. Let's make it look good for the fans. And of course, you get coins for doing that. Mercenary Manners. This is another Samira type card, I think. Or at the very least, no, it's not Samira. This is just general Bilgewater nonsense. Blood for gold is always a good way to start the day. Just hiring mercenaries by paying off your follower, or paying off the enemy followers. Alright. After Bilgewater, we have some Freljord cards. Brynhir Thundersong. This is a character and card design that was made by the Legends of Runeterra player base. It's a card kitchen. I am forged in the storm of this mountain in the song of my people. So this is a storm caller, which makes her very much a follower of Volibear. Here she is just standing on a peak, channeling the storm. And she makes Storm Carved Spire. To challenge nature is foolhardy. To channel it, however, therein lies power beyond measure. So yeah, just very much a follower of Volibear. No sign of him in the art or anything. It's not like outlined anywhere. But definitely just doing some crazy nature magic. Glacial Fell. Some trees in the Freljord can only be felled by the power of winter frost itself. Not really sure what it's trying to say here. That there are incredibly powerful trees, long-lived trees that can't be cut down except by extraordinary means. Not sure why, but very neat. I don't even think that this isn't true ice. This isn't truly true ice, but it's some kind of ice magic. The Poro Parade. Here's another dream. This one of Ingvar. Ingvar has forged an even stronger relationship with the Poro King subjects since her visit to his kingdom. Stampeding through the Freljord in search of adventure is one of the best ways to improve diplomatic relationships. The Poro King is not real necessarily, but because it is in existence in a dream, it might exist in the spirit world. But in any case, Ingvar is having a lot of adventures in her own dreams and has a wild imagination. Although a bunch of these things are things that actually exist across Runeterra, so Ingvar might be a bit prophetic. Who knows? Is that a costume, Mr. Poro? Yeah. These are actually references to other cards that exist. And then the boy. Here he comes. Ultra Soft Poro. Oh ho ho, look at that fluff. This is the Poro Herder. So you can see some wet Poros being washed. And then once they finish being washed, Ultra Soft. Also of note is a little Anivia version of a rubber ducky, which is very funny. Alright. After Freljord, We have, let's go Noxus. And we have the dream of Draven's biggest fan. The arena's popularity is due in part to the fact that anyone can make a name for themselves within it. This particular fan has watched every one of Draven's matches he could. He is sure that given the same chance, he too could rise to the top. So, this is, once again, this is not a thing that's actually happened. He did not defeat the scaled snapper and a captive yeti and is being cheered on by everyone. And he definitely has not been able to grow a mustache. This is the dream of Draven's biggest fan. Yeah, he's sure that he could do this. But for now, it's just in his dreams. Arena spoils. Got a rock with your name on it. Then we have the Blighted Battle Axe. Cowardice is costly. So this is charged with purple magic, which I don't think is the same kind of rune magic that we see the Rune Weavers doing. But it might be similar at the very least. It has that same kind of broken weapon but forged back together through magic. But in any case, this is blighted. It will sicken you to use it. The Yeti Handler. The Noxian war machine's success is due in part to its flexibility. When challenging terrain or difficult conditions demand adaptation, the military will take advantage of even the most unlikely resources. This card here, the Yeti Handler, not this guy. This 1/2 is this, which is why it summons an actual Yeti. But we can see with the red eyes that I believe... Nope, they normally have red eyes. Okay. So I don't believe this is actually undead. But it is scarred up. It does have like a mouth thing so it can't bite people. It really is enslaved here by the Noxian war effort. Tragic for the Yetis, I suppose. We go to the Piltover and Zon. Candlelit Prayer. See, this is one that I don't think is a dream. I think this is just, a thing, a place. The Temple to Jana has few solid walls, so as to be better in tune with the goddess's powers. Nevertheless, the many candles seem to always be lit, even when a howling storm settles over the rest of Zon. Okay. Based on the surroundings, it looks like this temple is either on the coast or up on the cliffside, perhaps. It's not deep in Zon or anything. Yeah, it doesn't have walls, so it has to be out somewhere. Yeah, I don't think it's underground. I'm not sure where it would be in Zon. It must be along the coast, like off of Zon. Blessed Breath. A candle cannot burn without her blessed breath to feed it, says Mariam. Then we have the Soaring Cartographer. This is definitely some kind of Vastaya. Arms and wings, and clawed feet, and small wings instead of hair. Altitude is the surest way to make one recognize their own insignificance. So, yeah, Piltover has Vastaya, and they have, just being interested in knowledge and such. They have explorers that go out, travel the world, and try to map it, codify it, learn about the world. And there you go. That's what that is. Simple enough. Malmutation. Just one more copy and it will be perfect. So, looks like Evil K, the evil imperfectionist, is still around, still causing mischief in Zon with weird mad science experiments, and is making goopy clones of things. The fact that this is so green makes me hope that Zack is coming soon. Although it's probably unlikely. And this, although it is a green goop, doesn't seem to have anything to do with Zack. Because it's from the evil imperfectionist. So, who knows? Just because it's green and goopy doesn't mean that Zack is coming, unfortunately, because I do want him. Not Shadow Isles. We'll skip over to Shurima. And here we have the Dream of Azir, the Emperor's Army. This actually might not be a dream. This could just be what's actually happening there. But either way, Azir knows Shurima as it was, is, and will be. He believes that his vision for the future is far more than a mere dream. It is a prophecy he is destined to fulfill. Okay, this is a dream. This is one he's entirely capable of, but he is dreaming of him being able to rebuild Shurima. He's working at it right now, but in his dream, he is, of course, successful. Soldier summons. My soldiers are as numerous as the dunes in the desert. Yes, that's true. Thank you, Azir. We move on to the Empire Reconstructor. The rise of the Emperor has inspired hope across Shurima. Determined to see Azir's vision fulfilled, this mage calls herself the Empire's Reconstructor and travels the desert for the purpose of restoring buried ruins to their former splendor. So here we can see what Azir is doing. As much as some people think that Azir is kind of a bad guy or antagonist, he really isn't. He's not like, a perfect saint or anything, but he is inspiring positive change in Shurima. This person is just inspired by Azir's vision of restoring the ancient splendor and is going around rebuilding things, which is, good to do. Good on you, lady. Whoever your nameless mage, the Empire Reconstructor. And Sunborn Summoning. Looks like they have jars built in remembrance of various ascended. Many artifacts of ancient Sunborn warriors have been lost to time. The same cannot always be said of the god warriors they represent. Yes, several of these guys have come back. Azir. There is Nasus. This is Renekton. Who is this one supposed to be? For a Sunborn warrior? It shouldn't be Xerath. It might be Xerath, but it shouldn't be Xerath. It must be someone else. Xerath wouldn't make sense. They wouldn't make something to look like Xerath. He's not even a true... he's not a Sunborn, that's for sure. Technically, they shouldn't have back then made anything of Azir. But, I mean, if you look at it, actually, this Azir one looks newer. So I think it is not, in fact, an artifact. This is a new build to honor Azir, whereas these ones are older. Perhaps. Maybe. That's kind of my guess here. Alright, we move on from Shurima and head to Targon, where we have a Dragon Song Dreamer. The dragons are near, I can feel it. Even now they drift through my dreams. So we have seen already, this is definitely a Lunari, by the way. You can tell by the fact that she is wearing a big crescent stone on her head. And also just kind of this silver markings and everything. But yeah, this is a Lunari who also seems to worship dragons. Or at the very least is dreaming of dragons. Which is interesting. The relationship with Targonians and dragons. Not all of them worship dragons, but there seems to be a significant dragon worshipping sect. Veiled Blessings. This is just Morgana. I'll be their sanctuary. Yeah. Veiled Blessings secret buffs for Morgana. Because she doesn't really want to show herself. The Smoke-Scaled Host. This Lonatrani is dedicated to the worship and adoration of dragons, so much that they see the regal beasts in worlds both waking and sleep. So this is the guy that came out with the Elder Dragon. He is a dragon worshiper, kind of a pilgrim in a way. Seems to worship the crystal, the gem dragon. And yeah, even in his dreams, even waking and sleeping, he is just all about that dragon life, man. good on him. Smoke visions. They show themselves to me in the smoke. Everyone needs a hobby, right? No new Runeterra cards. Let's hop on over. So we have Bandle City, Demacia, Shadow Isles. Let's, I think, start with Bandle City, Shadow Isles. So now we have Vex. Stupid pink girl. I already told her I hate parties, especially when there's cake. Gross. Just wake me up when she goes away. So we can see Vex and Shadow. Her familiar. Uh, just hanging out in the spirit realm, basically. Not even the Shadow Isles at the moment. She's obviously able to go from the Shadow Isles to Vandal City if she ever wants to or needs to, which she has done, as seen here. She's just in Vandal City, and a person calling herself Vex's friend. V, wait, I have something for you. It's an invitation to your very own birthday party. And your gift, a little early. I couldn't wait. Aren't you excited? We need to talk about what to wear and the cake and V. So V does not want to go to her own birthday party, especially because it's not even her birthday. But, you know, Alay just wants to throw a party for her friend and invite people and just kind of be a yordle. We found out from Bandletale that yordles really love parties. So she is trying to rope Vex in, but Vex is not interested. We can see right here, still not my birthday. So yeah. From there, we can hop back over to here, where we can see that in trying to escape, she goes to sleep, and when she falls asleep, she has a her dream turns into a nightmare where she is at the party and a bunch of people are there happy to see her, and it's all pink and colorful, and boy howdy, she hates it. This is awful, not in a good way. Vex's glare. Congratulations, I hate you. Just, yep. Giving that down the nose glare. So, the next thing that happens, probably this one. Time slowed down as the weirdly muscular mayor burst out of the impossibly tall cake. A very happy birthday, the mayor said with a flex, from Bandle's best and buffest elected official. Out of all of her dreams, Vex hated this one the most. So, yeah. Vex is forced, in her dream, is forced, is at a party that she doesn't want to be at. A person that she personally finds annoying comes out of a cake and is even more annoying than normal for some reason. And Gloom Sprites. In order for her to help get out, dreams have a funny way of changing the sprites. These ones seem to be, oh, is that cake? So sprites, when they go to a dream, change in a way to try to help the dreamer get through the dream. So in order to become something that Vex would like and would want help from, the sprites became gloomier and darker. Still helping to destroy the cake and stop the party to help Vex out, but they couldn't be as cute as they were before. Also, the gift that we got from Alay, this right here, worst gift ever, a thing springs out from it. The grotesque gift. So, popping out from the gift as it swells in size. Huh, didn't end up being such a bad gift after all. Tries to scare Vex. Doesn't work. Vex is just kind of impressed and likes it because of how grotesque and morbid it is. And the dream part for Vex seems to end with Shadow here. Show them Shadow. No presents, no confetti, especially no party hats. So she's able to fight back in her own dream by making use of her own powers. So her own magic, her own powers are familiar, are able to drive back the dream with the help of the sprites. So that seems to be everything that has to do with dreams. There is some other stuff that we see, such as Uncle Milty here, who is a Yordle. Although he's certainly very different from his gloomy niece, Uncle Milty always does his best to connect with her, especially if it's through a spooky story told by firelight, by candlelight. So he keeps coming to the Shadow Isles, trying to find Vex and trying to just keep her in the family, keep her, like, be part of her life. Um, and yeah. And at first, things did not go super well. The point of anything ever, existential dread. There's a short story about that, actually, if you go on the League Universe page. But that didn't stop him, and he still comes back, and he has found something that does allow him to connect with his niece a little bit, which is by telling spooky stories, and she does kind of actually like that. You can see here that it did put her to sleep. Like, she was able to fall asleep to it. She didn't drive him away or anything. In addition to that, we have Grimm. Dark romantic, tortured poet, connoisseur of all things philosophical, Grimm isn't afraid of a little gloom and doom. The subject of his affections is known to be a touch prickly, but it only makes her all the more lovable in his eyes. So this is a poet, Yordle, who does actually like Vex, and is also trying to connect to Vex, and is more successful, I would say, than both Alay and Uncle Milty. Um, but he's still not the same as Vex, and he still is more willing to hang out with others. He's actually friends with Alay as well, but he puts on airs to try to be closer to Vex. Whereas Alay just kind of pushes, Grimm tries to fit in more with what Vex would actually like, which does lead to him being closer friends with Vex. He also seems to have maybe a little bit of a crush, subject of his affections. He does, in fact, with the beautiful disaster here, hold poem readings. He climbed the steps to the stage, poem clutched in hand. He hadn't put up any posters advertising this performance because he already had the only audience he wanted. So, yeah, there wasn't actually a full-on party, or at the very least at the end of whatever kind of party that Alay tried to put together. It ended up being just the two of them, and although Vex is a little bit interested, like not enough to, completely want to leave, Shadow is definitely more disinterested. They're kind of have very similar emotions. They seem to share kind of a bond there. So it's a combination of like, don't care and kind of interested. Like, it's not the worst. He's not doing poem stuff about bright things. He's, being a bit morbid and depressing, which is what she likes. Poet's recital. O valiant sufferer, kindred of my spirit, beloved of my soul, long have I awaited this night. Yeah. Withering affection. A rose is only beautiful in its impermanence. So yeah, he is definitely saying, wow, he looks very different here. He actually looks kind of cool, with like a more human thinned face and like a human body type. What is going on in this? Anyway, yeah, he's actually fits in a bit better with Vex's preferred aesthetic, and that's why he's able to be closer. Let's see other things as we just go down the list here. Last thing when it comes to actual Vex is going to be this: the family reunion. Absence doesn't make this heart grow any fonder, but at least family dinners are quiet around here, just the way Vex likes it. So, Vex has made approximations of her parents in the Shadow Isles. Although, based on these portals here, this is not actually in the Shadow Isles. This is in the spirit world around the Shadow Isles, most likely, based on these portal things. But, yeah, has made that and basically does spend time with them. She does seek not necessarily affection, but to be around other people, as most people do and most Yordles do. She just doesn't like them to be as happy or talkative. So she has made approximations that are silent, and she hangs out with that, using them to just kind of swing and play. No, I don't want to swing on your branches. I'm not a kid anymore, she says as she does it, pretending, maybe making herself a little upset, but doing something that she likes but doesn't want to like, perhaps. Alright, and that is all of the Vex stuff. From here, we have just a couple weird stuff. Last thing about dreams, these tree sprites. Go on, little sprites, show your dreamer the way. So here we can see these these spritelings going into dream bubbles and turning into whatever they need. Turning into a spooky thing for Vex, turning into a bright, happy thing for Lux, which we'll see soon. Also, these bubbles are touching each other. This is maybe implying that the Vex's dream and Lux's dream actually do merge, like they do actually meet each other. They have, of course, voice lines if you put them in the same deck or if they're facing against each other, but this maybe implies that they do actually meet in their own dreams. Doesn't everybody dream about being the hero, says Poppy. Out of nowhere, but sure. Thanks, Poppy. Alright. Last couple things we have here. The Iron Conquest. In the Grey Realm, tortured forms amass into a spectral army. Once the gates of the mortal realm are opened, they will not be stopped. So this is a thing that is happening, but it's also the dream of Mordekaiser. Soon they will all belong to me. And that is worth noting because Lilia does have voice lines to Mordekaiser talking about his dreams. So even the undead can dream, and this Iron Conquest is the dream of Mordekaiser. I don't think it's the dream of any of his followers as much, maybe cultists, but... then we have Wings Giving. We've seen this guy before, Trevor Snoozebottom. Old Trevor Snoozebottom always seems to find himself drifting about in some dream or another. This one, thankfully, seems quite peaceful, though, strangely, everyone he comes across wants wings just like his. So yeah, he's actually just kind of like a dreamwalker character, interesting enough, and he's a lucid dreamer enough that he can make dreams kind of happen. Forest friends, poros, berries, pudding soup. And lastly, we have Karox, and this guy's a weird one. The lone oarsman of a spectral ship that many seafaring folk call the Last Ferry. Karox is said to commune with the spirits of all the sailors who perished trying to reach the Isles. So, this is a name, like an intelligent undead, Karox. People know about him. The lone oarsman of a spectral ship that many seafaring folk call the Last Ferry. So he is known, people see him. He is said to commune with the spirits of all sailors who perish trying to reach the Isles. So he's not like a friendly guy that everyone just talks to or anything. There's rumors about him more than it's a fact about him. But he is a undead that's probably somewhat benign. An oarsman of a small ship, just kind of going around the Shadow Isles, a known undead named Karox. Why does he make tentacles? I have no idea why he summons tentacles. I'm not sure if that's meant to be a lore thing. I don't think he's affiliated with Nagakeboros, but perhaps he, being an undead out at sea, is likely to incur Nagakeboros' wrath. That could be it. Well, anyway, that seems to be that. So we'll end it with Luxana. Lux illuminated, the new version of Lux. Light swirled and arced around Luxana as the city folk looked on in wonder. Here, she was Damasia's Lady of Light, an upstanding young crown guard and a talented mage. Here, Demacia was everything she had always wanted it to be. So Lux dreams of a brighter future, haha, light. But you can see strange darkness in the corners here, things that are unnatural and strange. This dream is being corrupted by an outside force. She's not dreaming and having a nightmare on her own. Something's corrupting it. And then, I am Luxana, Lady of Light, and I am not afraid. You may try to twist my Demacia into nightmare and drown it in darkness, but there's no shadow I cannot outshine. And there's a bunch of hands. Is that a figure or is that a hand? Might be a hand, might be a figure. But definitely a lot of grasping hands, but she is banishing them with the light. And we have our Radiance is unbound. She's much more confident here. So, this guy over here, Lumino Sprite, you might remember him from the card we saw towards the end of Bandle City. It is the Sprite that came to help Lux. Come on, Mr. Sprite. Let's burn away these creepy shadows. So, yeah, it is a sprite in a lantern to literally light the way for Lux. Then we have the light of Demacia. The cheers of the crowd swelled as her radiance washed over their upturned faces. She had only ever sought to uplift and support her people, and they supported her in turn, voices rising in chant of adoration. Luxana, Luxana, Luxana. So once again, this is just the positive aspect of the dream. This is what Lux's dream is when there's no corruptive elements in it. Radiant protection. I will protect you. She is a protector. She is accepted. She helps others. But she recognizes that things are wrong in her dream, and she goes to find the source of it and try to put an end to it. Outside, Jero Lightfeather shows up. A young man in a masquerade mask manifested before her with a flourish of rose petals and luminescent creatures. The name's Lightfeather. Jero Lightfeather, he said. I was told you might be in need of some assistance, my lady. So, by the existence of the sprites and the fact that this is Lux's dream, this is, in fact, not Ezreal. This is a dream. This is a sprite taking the form of Ezreal to try to help guide her. Now, the question is, first, why is the Lumino sprite also here? Well, that is because, most likely, this did not work. I think Lux doesn't seem to remember Jero Lightfeather or Ezreal. So although she did meet him, because he shows up and he's essentially in her subconscious, like somewhere deep down she did meet him, she just doesn't actively remember him as like a person that she should know. But the sprites still try this first, so he did interact with a way that makes her more memorable than them trying to be Garen or something, right? So very interesting. There's some interesting thing there as to why Jero Lightfeather is important to her, but also she doesn't remember. Very interesting. There's a lot of reasons why you can come up with as to why that might be. I don't think there's anything that we know that gives any definitive answer, but that's how I would kind of look at it. is she did meet Ezreal once before. Ezreal was pretending to be Gerald Lightfeather. It was important enough that spirits would try to be Gerald Lightfeather as a thing that Lux would recognize as a way to help guide her. So Gerald Lightfeather is someone that she is not someone that she dislikes, but she doesn't remember him for some reason. And so Gerald Lightfeather does not follow her into the Petricite Hall. She goes in there basically by herself. The cheers of the crowd faded as she entered the hall. The statues looked on in silence. Darkness awaited, but she could not turn back. Who else could prevent Demasia's descent into nightmare? So she obviously did not go this far with Jarrow Lightfeather. She's going in to find the source of the corruption, and you can see that this place is twisted. Petricite Hall is where mages are sent to be imprisoned, and so this is definitely the source of her discontent in the dream. Grasping hands. Come out and face me, or I'll burn away the shadows you cower in. Right. Yeah, there's the tree sprites again. So, very interesting. Gerald Lightfeather, Lumino sprite. We actually don't see the lantern in this art. Nor do we see the lantern, of course, in this art. So it's possible that she doesn't take it all the way with her. But, smoldering smirk. Wax lady is enough for me to go around. Yep. She definitely remembers Jarrow as being kind of a jerk. But she still inherently trusts him enough that the spirits would try that, even if it doesn't work. Rising Light, Enshrined in Light. There she is doing her big new version of an ult, which is more of a Radiance buff than it is a Laser of Doom. Very interesting. Dreamlight Alina. Now this one is interesting. So this is in the halls. She finds this young girl, Alina. When I was your age, I was so afraid of this light. I didn't have anyone to tell me that my magic was a gift, that it was given to me for a reason. But you have me to tell you now. So don't be afraid, Alina. Let it shine. So Lux finds someone in the Petricite Hall that she teaches. And you can see these shadowy hands reaching towards the light, but they kind of petrify. They're not able to get all the way to them. The light actually does stop them from getting in. There are voice lines and dialogue that imply that just like the Jarrow Lightfeather, Alina here is in fact a sprite trying to help her through the dream. So becoming someone that she can teach. So we had Jarrow who tried to save her. Jarrow came in and is like, I will lead you, I will protect you, we'll be able to do this, I'm a big hero. Lux denies that, doesn't need it. Then there is a little sprite in a lantern, helps guide Lux through the darkness. And that is helpful up to a way, but that doesn't solve the problem. So then there is Dreamlight Alina, which is someone that needs to be protected, needs to be nurtured and shown what to do. And in doing that is creating this light that is repelling the darkness and the hands. So that is my thought here as to what is going on. That's the 3 attempts to help Lux solve this problem. And I don't think we see the problem being entirely solved yet, unfortunately. But that is, I think, that. But then there is the antagonist, the Aberrant Mage Seeker. So this is a Mage Seeker with a twisted design, Petricite growing off of him, and a huge monster of a man. Lady Crownguard. The Mage Seeker materialized out of the shadows, not out of the sprites, extending a hand towards her. His entreating smile seemed too wide for his half-obscured face. Why don't you follow me? So this is a manifestation of the darkness, of the demon, of whatever is trying to corrupt the dreams. And it is trying to draw Lux away. It's trying to mislead Lux. And it does not work. We do have voice lines between Jarrow Lightfeather and the Mage Seeker, as well as Alina and the Mage Seeker, which kind of point to the fact that the Mage Seeker is not a sprite construct. It is, in fact, something else. It's something other, something that has always been there, and talks kind of fiddlesticksy, but a bit more eloquently. It's a dream construct, though, so it's not directly fiddlesticks pretending to be someone, but it could be a construct, an effigy, kind of like what fiddlesticks passive is, to make, make things that act a certain way. It could be an extension of that, an exposition on that kind of power, expounding upon that power. But in any case, this shows up in the halls, and towards the beginning of the halls, because of the light coming in, and tries to mislead her, I think, pretty early. This has to be after this, though, right? Because this is where the cheers of the crowd faded as she enters. But then this place is much more well lit. This could be, in fact, after she shines and casts away the hands and the shadows, this could be a second attempt by the darkness to mislead her. That could be it. Either way, these sprites don't know what the Mage Seeker, what this thing is. Both Jarrow Lightfeather and Alina can sense that there's something wrong about it, but don't know what it is. So wherever it falls in the timeline, whether or not either of these constructs meet the Mage Seeker, the aberrant Mage Seeker, it is definitely certain that it is not a friendly construct. It is something that is misleading, something from whatever's causing this. And we don't know what that is. We can only theorize. And then we just have like one card out of nowhere here. Forgotten Artifact. Deep in a Mage Seeker vault of confiscated magical objects, a strange carving sits unlabeled, its purpose long forgotten. Yeah. This is, I don't think, anything that's like foreshadowing for anything big, especially since it makes a sandstone charger. But it is pointing out the fact that the Mage Seekers have vaults with confiscated magical objects that they've gotten from various places, and there are lots of dangerous magical artifacts and equipment and magical things just locked up in Demacia, waiting for someone to, I don't know, heist them or something, or for them to be misused, or for the Mage Seekers who don't know what they're doing to, like an SCP, accidentally not handle it correctly and cause a problem. Yeah, and then that's Demacia. And that is all of the new cards. The overall story definitely has to do with the dreams of these three, with the biggest focus on technically Lux's dream, but all the dreams are pointing to the problem in the grove and in the dreams. And there are a lot of crows on a bunch of different cards pointing to some kind of corruption. There's physical dark growths on a lot of things in the Ionian Garden of Forgetting. And Vex's, it is in fact not Vex's birthday. And she does not want to celebrate with a party like Alay wants, but is willing to go to a poetry reading by Grimm. So she does have a couple of friends. She does have a support network, even if she kind of keeps them at arm's length and keeps them away mostly. But she does kind of want them to be there, as judging by the voice lines, which I recommend going to look at. But that is, in fact, the Dreamlit Paths. The story of the cards, all of those. There's also some, you know, lore on these for the whole Empyrean skin line, but I know a lot less about skin line lore and the Empyrean stuff even more so. So we're not gonna super go into that. But you know, it's there. Hey, look at that. Mostly seems to be about world destruction, I guess, and then they're hopping around between the multiverse. Hmm. Anyway, it is. Yeah, that's the thing. But that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe you learned something. Possibly saw things a different way than you were before. I think that the implications of the dream construct of Jero Lightfeather is interesting, especially since I am interested in the Ezreal and Lux relationship, especially with how they're kind of handling it, where it's not like Ezreal definitely has a crush on Lux, but there's something about the Lux side of it where it's not as simple as just like, oh, I barely remember you, Ezreal, you're forgettable. Like there's something to the fact that Jero Lightfeather was the first thing that these sprites tried to make. That subconsciously, I think they must have had some interaction when they were both younger, and Ezreal traveled there, doing his nonsense adventures and thievery, trying to steal stuff. But yeah, all right. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and a subscribe. I should probably say that kind of stuff earlier in the video, but I never do. Uh, so go ahead and do it now if you made it all the way here. Leave a comment saying what you think might be some story things, if there's any beats that you think I missed, or that you disagree with on what some of these cards might mean. And I'll see you guys next time when it happens. You guys have a good one.